Hello, hello. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays. Welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Vaughn, or Car Conversations if you're just over here on YouTube. Hopefully you are. I'm trying to get everybody to come over to YouTube. So I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate you liking the videos, sharing them with family and friends, coworkers, whomever, and bringing more people to the page. I really appreciate it. Down below, you see my name, my handle on Instagram. Facebook is the same, Vaughn. And then you also have my cash up there. And it's the holidays. And I love winter dreams and I love chai tea lattes. So if you just want to send me a little $6 or $7, $10 for a drink, hey, I appreciate that. It's getting a little chilly outside. Okay. And also today I have Mrs. Claus with me today, Mrs. Claus. So yeah, let's get into this conversation though. I do want to get to the festivities of it all, but before we get there, we got to talk about some very serious news that happened this week. So this week we had two National Guard members that were gunned down in DC. It has been called an intentional targeted attack by a Rahmullah Lakanwala. Lakanwala. I know I'm butchering the name, but targeted attack on a Sarah Beckstrom and Andrew Wolf, both members of the Virginia National Guard. And unfortunately, Sarah passed away. First of all, prayers, thoughts and prayers to both of their families, but condolences specifically to Sarah's family. Last I checked, Andrew Wolf was still hanging on, still in critical condition. So we're hoping that he pulls through. Only 24 years old. Sarah was 20 years old. In my opinion, that is just, you just have your whole life ahead of you when you're at that age. And I feel horrible for, what transpired and for her family, just horrible for her family. A very unnecessary loss, considering the fact that they should not have been in DC in the first place. And I've seen all these arguments back and forth on social media, and bottom line, they should not have been there. You've already had 4 federal judges rule that it was illegal to send the National Guard to any city in America. Why? Because what are they to do there? They have no legal jurisdiction. They can't arrest anyone. They cannot enforce any laws there. That is not the purpose of the National Guard. And according to one of the videos, I don't know if this was her ex-boyfriend or current boyfriend that they were speaking to, but Sarah had already discussed with this young man how she felt like that this was just a waste of time. Like, why was I sent here to pick up trash? This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And the people don't want us here. And she talked about how she was being treated by the people as well. So that's number one. That is the key argument, that when you're having this discussion with other people, they should not have been there. They are where it was illegal. It has been deemed illegal by 4 federal judges for the National Guard to be sent to any of these cities. And then what was the response of the administration to this situation? To deploy even more members to DC, 500. As a matter of fact, that was their response. That was their first response. The next response, the felon over his Truth Social has called for the denaturalization of citizens, and citizens who are undermining, I'm going to do quotes, undermining domestic tranquility. What the fuck that's supposed to mean? Because there's no legal meaning to it. What he's trying to convey there, I don't know. And I am willing to bet he doesn't even know. This sounds like some shit that Stephen Miller would say. This is all Stephen Miller. His hands are all over it. So yes, he puts out on Truth Social that we are going to denaturalize citizens, and then those that are undermining the domestic tranquility. What does domestic tranquility mean to you, Felon 47? or Stephen Miller, because I know that's where this is coming from, because this is not a legal meaning or term. This is just some bullshit that they've cooked up. So let's talk about the shooter. Let's talk about him. So, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name again, but he's 29 years old. Last I checked, he's still alive as well. He's a 29-year-old Afghan national. He belonged to, so you had immediately the felon, this administration come out and try to blame Biden and say that he hadn't been vetted, etc. That was a complete, total lie. Not only had he been vetted, he had been carefully, extremely heavily vetted, another quote, by the CIA and the FBI. Why? Because he was part of a special unit called the Zero Unit. They were referred to as a death squad in Afghanistan, and they were specifically trained, funded, and formed by our CIA to assassinate Afghanis. They had a specific mission in Afghanistan, and they were working for the CIA. So that bullshit about him not being vetted and just being allowed to come into this country, complete, total lie. And also, you should know that there are 10,000 other individuals just like him that belong to this Zero Unit that were trained by our CIA to assassinate people on their command. There are 10,000 others that are living here in the US. Okay? So Ramanlach decided, well, I'm going to say this. This is where I'm caught. My initial reaction was, this is a false flag. They're setting up some shit so they can do, and I'm talking about this administration, so they can do what they want to do, have wanted to do since day one, which is martial law. Okay, that was my first thought. But let me give you a little more information about what the individuals that are part of this unit have gone through and what might possibly have happened other than a false flag. Okay, because my initial thought was immediately, oh, this is a false flag. They're setting some more bullshit up for people to buy into and say, hey, we need to kick these other people out. We need to lock down America, and this administration just needs to take over. So not only was he heavily vetted, he was part of this Zero Unit, this death squad that was formed by the CIA, funded by the CIA, trained by the CIA. All this information is backed up by the New York Times, ProPublica, Rolling Stone. Several other outlets have confirmed this information. Now, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, the CIA made sure this special group, this special team was pulled out. I know you heard that there was a lot of chaos and people were left behind. Not this unit. The CIA, very with stealth organization, made sure that this unit was pulled out and moved to America. So in regards to Rohmanlach, he lived in Washington State. That's where he has been living since he came here in 2021. Came to the US in 2021. He was granted asylum just this April by the Felon 47 administration. So everything that they have tried to feed you, this administration has tried to feed you since this incident occurred, has been a complete, total lie. They literally lie to you every single day. So he came to the US, was brought to the US in 2021 by our government, by the CIA. And then asylum was granted here in April under the Felons administration, this April of 2025. So what did they do? They conducted these night raids. They murdered even civilians. Any male who was of military age. They also murdered women and children. The CIA put together a death squad, basically to do the dirty work that they could not do on the ground in Afghanistan. That's who these people are. That's who Ramidlach, who drove from Washington State to Washington, D.C. to do this, to commit this act. And another thing I want to tell you is in April, there was another Afghani native who got into a shootout match with a police officer. I should have I'm concerned about copyright issues, but I should have included that video here. But there's a video on social media. I'm going to post it on my page. So you can go to my page. There's my Instagram. You can go to my page there. But so this guy gets into back and forth with this police officer that pulls him over. And he goes back and forth and saying, look, your government brought me here. You're a bunch of liars. I have 4 children. And you could just hear the frustration in his voice. I've been lied to. This government has lied to me. So I don't know why exactly he was pulled over. But then you hear the officer say, hey, I served too. And he said, but, we're just out here with no help. And then the officer is calling for, I guess, backup. He's saying the guy is going for his gun. And then there's this back and forth and there's this shootout. Okay. And then it cuts off. So I don't know how that ended, but that's what happened. So these individuals that were bought from Afghanistan, another key thing that you need to know is their work permits expired in 2023. And apparently they have not been renewed. And according to the felon, anyone that's here undermining domestic tranquility is going to be shipped off. But here's the thing: they can't be sent back to Afghanistan because they will be unalived. So they can't be sent back to Afghanistan. It's my understanding that Ravenloch, the individual who committed this heinous act against these 2 National Guard members, has 5 children that are here with him in the States. So he has a family. This person that was pulled over said he has 4 children that he has to take care of. And they don't have work permits, so they can't work to provide for their families. So they're relying on, and they can't get SNAP and things like that because they're not American citizens. Keep that in mind. So they're relying on food banks and social service programs and things like that to take care of their families. When they were in Afghanistan, trained, hired, funded by the CIA to commit all these assassinations on behalf of the U.S., were told they were going to be brought back to the U.S. and taken care of. And they were brought back here and said, oh, good luck to you. Have a nice life. Is basically what they've been told. So now that I'm gathering more information, I have I don't know if this was a false flag. I don't know if this guy was just so frustrated, because you got to think about it. The trauma, the PTSD that they must have, all the mental health issues that might be going. You were hired to kill people. You are a hired assassin, and then you did that, and then you're brought to this country, told you were going to be protected. You and your family are going to be protected. You get nothing. You have to fend for yourself every day. And then you can't go back to your own country. And then people are here. Not only do you not have the support systems, you don't have a work permit. People here are racist as fuck. And then you got these kids and this family to take care of. So I'm not saying that I feel bad for the guy, because this should have never happened. I feel bad for this young lady at 20 years old who lost her life. I feel bad for her family and Andrew's family. But my God, look at the damage that our government does to people on both sides. And then we expect people to be sane and live amongst us? Like, come on. So yeah, you might want to look into this a little further and see what kind of conditions, now that we know that this unit the zero unit that these people are involved in. We know that the CIA, they're funded and trained by the CIA. They've been used by the CIA. Then they were told they're going to be protected here in America. And then America bought them back and said, deuces. What do you expect? I keep telling y'all this. When people get to the point when they feel like they have nothing to lose, I don't care what country they come from, you are going to see some strange and different and potentially horrific behaviors come from these folks, whether they're Americans or they're somebody from somewhere else. So yeah, before you go, I would just say dive into this, get more information before you start formulating your opinions. Because I did the same thing. I was doing the same thing. I was like, this is a false flag. This is also supposedly this man drove across country naked. Naked. He drove from Washington State to Washington, D.C. naked. So what does that tell you about his mental state? All right, so I'm going to stay on top of this one. I'm going to bring you more information as it is released. Continue to keep Andrew Wolf in your prayers and his send healing energy his way, and then keep Sarah Beckstrom's family in your prayers, and we send our sincerest condolences to both of their families because this should have never happened. We still don't have a motive. We still don't have more information as in regards to what Ramin Lach, his mindset was. Was this a mission? Was this a false flag mission? Was this a mental health breakdown? What was this? We don't know. So stay tuned for more information.